Everybody good?
I think so.
Good money, man.
Good money. It's your boy Brocky, man. Whiskey and Kicks. This is Heat Check.
This is Heat Check.
This is Heat Check, yo.
Here we are.
Part 2, episode 2 of Heat Check. I have my good friend Kat in the building. What's good, Kat?
Everything's good. It's been a while.
Yeah,
It's been a while,
It's been a
and
while.
it's about time.
Yeah, it's about time, man. Listen,
Yeah.
maybe one of the most unsuspecting sneaker junkies you've ever laid your eyes on, people.
What's that supposed to mean?
I'm saying people wouldn't know until they get their feelings hurt. Well, you walk into the spot with some sneakers on and they.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
I look at people's shoes before I look at their face.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the few people who's ever had a pair of sneakers that I wanted within a few days span, and then I saw them on your foot, and it crushed my soul.
Crushed your soul.
Crushed my soul.
Look, let's start the show off like we usually do. This is Whiskey and Kicks. You came with a gift. This is Big Spring Spirits American whiskey out of Pennsylvania.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, yo. So this is you said it's a fairly new distillery?
Yes, it's a fairly new distillery. I think they've only been open for around like 7 years or so, which is actually fairly new for a distillery.
Yeah.
And
yeah. It's still enough to get your own juice going though. So
Yeah.
I wonder if they have their own stuff or if they're sourcing still. I'm pretty sure they started off sourcing, but I'm making an assumption. Sourced from the Scotia Barrens, where the rain percolates through sand and dolomite. The naturally filtered waters of Belafonte's Big Spring make our spirits genuinely remarkable. I think they use the word sourced different here. I think they're talking about the water and stuff. But let's sip it. Let's see what's good, man. Cheers, yo. Cheers. Cheers, yo. Okay. Have you had this before? Did you have it?
I have had this one before.
What do you think about it?
I don't mind it actually.
I like that.
I was actually I'm kind of a little bit wary when it comes to trying like new distilleries, and because you never really know what you're gonna get. Sometimes it's hit or miss, and so I tried this one and I actually didn't mind it at all. So I was like, I'm gonna take this to Brocky and see what he thinks.
Yeah, I am the exact opposite. I run towards new distilleries. I love it.
Okay.
Joe, what you think about this?
It's interesting. So it doesn't have like a really high like proof. I don't believe. What's the proof?
No, this is on 89.2 proof.
You see what's happened to me here, folks?
This guy. Look at this guy.
Now I can
Look
taste the
at
proof.
this
Pause.
guy. Pause. Look at this guy.
But no, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. The second, I think I drank right behind it really quickly, so it does taste like alcohol-y.
Okay, you're getting a little bit.
Yeah.
The ethanol is kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? The ethanol?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has some heat to it. Like it's like I wonder what the proof with the mash bill is, because it comes off as a high rye whiskey. So I wonder if they're using rye in this.
It is rye. Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
Okay.
It is rye.
Okay, so it's a high rye whiskey, but they don't call it a rye though. Just call it an American whiskey, which is interesting, but it does have a little heat to it. So
Yeah.
Joe's like,
It
yeah,
definitely,
it does.
that was going to be my next point. There's some heat in this one, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
So, Kat, how did you become a sneaker fiend? If you had to put that into words,
Oh my gosh.
when did you first notice?
That's what I was-
When did I first notice? It was probably definitely childhood, probably around like late middle school, early high school. And I've always been an aesthetic person. So like if I see something, I'm like, oh wow, that looks really cool, that looks really nice. And a lot of kids at my school were actually sneakerheads. So they would roll into school and I'd be like, wow, those are some really bright colors. I really like those. And I'm like, where did you get those? And I just kind of went from there. I started researching on my own, like walking into random stores.
Right, because you grew up with the internet.
Yes.
See, we're older fellows, so we didn't have the internet. So you grew up being able to say, "Oh, what are those?" and just going home and look it up.
Yeah.
So middle school, so you're noticing others first, and then what was what was the driving factors? Like, I have to have these. Was it a specific pair or a specific person that you noticed?
Well, it would be really awkward if I walked up to someone and was like, "Can I hold and touch your shoes? Can you like take them off for me?" So I was a really shy person, so I kind of did my own research and kind of like found it out on my own. Like, so I like researched it, went to the store, like actually held it in my hand, like felt the textures and stuff, and then it was like all done for me.
So like, what was, if you can, do you remember like the first pair of sneaker you really, really wanted? Like after surveying the landscape and seeing all of these people with all these different colors and then researching, what was the first sneaker you were like, I want those joints?
Must have.
Okay, before those joints. Okay, the very first thought that came to mind was Heelys.
Heelys.
But
That's
after
fantastic.
that,
That's legit though.
That's
the
your
Healy
story.
wave was a wave.
It sure was.
They have to shut down public spaces thanks to Heelys.
Yeah, the Heelys was so crazy because as an adult, my son, of course, he wanted them, and I would see these kids in the mall with Heelys on and be so jealous that this didn't
they're
exist. when I was
still
a child.
doing that.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they're
You can still Heely in
can
places?
still-
Come on.
Heely is a verb.
Heely's a verb. You can still Heely in places. Come on, that's not even true.
Yeah,
I'm not
they
gonna
still-
take that.
they still
I'm not
sell-
taking that.
They still sell them, and while I was at the store yesterday, I actually saw a pair of Heelys that had flames on the side. I'm like, bruh.
I'm telling you, I thought there was a nationwide ordinance to stop Heelys from being worn in any public, no malls, no
Ordinance.
playgrounds, nowhere. Like Congress got together and was like, done with the Heelys.
Shit,
Yo.
if there was, no one told me.
So
So, besides Heelys,
Okay, besides
what was the
Heelys,
first?
I think the very first pair that I actually owned that I absolutely loved were the old school Etnies, the skate shoes. It was like a black shoe.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a black skate shoe with a pink E on it, and that was like that was my shit.
Yeah. That was it.
Yeah.
That was
was
the
it.
one. That was the one you had to have.
Yep.
They had
And
all
you got them. And you.
They had all the cushion and stuff in them. Like they were
Yeah,
super
they were
thick.
so
Yeah.
comfy, and then I liked that they came with like customizable like laces. Like they came with different colors and all that stuff, and I mean, I'm a girl, so I love like customizing and like changing things up.
No
and
doubt.
Right.
So
Wow. Okay. All right. So you clearly there was a skater space in your life in terms of sneakers.
yes,
You were actually
Sneakers.
skating?
Were you actually skating, or were you just
yes, but
really?
that doesn't mean that I was good at it.
Doesn't matter. But
Right.
you had a board, like you were
Yeah.
actually skating and getting to it.
Yeah.
All right. So then the sneakers made sense because did you have? Because I've always wondered with skaters, do they have a skater sneaker? Like when you get to the skate spot, you swap out shoes. You know what I mean? Like
No,
you
you
skate in
kinda-
these, but do you walk up in the with
it's
the
kinda
Paul
like-
Rodriguez joint? That, because when the SB Dunks first came out, like that was the thing when they transitioned.
Yeah.
The SB Dunks were based on that, but people weren't
Now
actually skating in them.
back then we just kind of rolled up in whatever we were wearing and just
Yeah, but there's an actual functionality to those sneakers,
Yeah.
right? That skating in a pair of Stan Smiths or something or some Air Max is not going to get you the same results as skating in a you know what I'm saying,
SB,
like an
right.
SB, right? That's crazy. Now I was never a skateboard guy, so yeah, it's a fascinating.
trust
I'm
me. I didn't think I
Yeah?
would either.
I will admit publicly that I had a skateboard era.
What?
I had a skateboard
Oh,
era.
man.
How was that?
It was interesting because it wasn't like the actual like kickflip skateboard era. but I did have a
Oh, it was like a little
skateboard.
skinny joint?
No, I had that was back when you had the gigantic boards that kind of that looked like a fish.
Oh, okay.
And they had like the rails on the side of so like
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah, so you could like grab it and like pull them up on two wheels if you were going around the corner. And this was all BMX days.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
We're
You thought
talking
you was
late
gonna be a
80s.
trickster?
I couldn't do any tricks because, again, having West Indian parents, they said skateboard. They were not gonna buy the boards that you had to buy the trucks for and do all of that. Nah, you got whatever was sold in Walmart, Clover, as is, and that was it. So we used to ride our skateboards. My block was on a hill, and so over time it was great to go down. But then you realize how skateboards worked against you, and it was time to come back up the hill.
You had
Yeah,
to flip it up and walk, baby.
Right. So,
it was leg day every day.
so I
Leg
will
day
publicly
every day.
admit, because it was also questionable time, because I was also playing a lot of tennis, which means I had on some really, really high shorts. This is pre-Hoochie Daddy stage. Some really high shorts.
You had on
and
the
a
Isaiah
skateboard.
Thomases?
I had on the Isaiah Thomas and a skateboard, and that was me, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll own up to it publicly because we're having the conversation now.
So we're in middle school at this point with you, right? And you get this, you fall in love with the skateboard thing. Did you OD with the whole skateboard sneaker thing? Like you just get more and more of them, or did you kind of transition pretty quickly?
I actually transitioned pretty quickly. I kept seeing like more and more like different style shoes and colors and designs, and I was like, what are those? So
Yeah. Yeah. So what was that next joint?
oh gosh.
Like, you know, not necessarily specific sneaker itself, but like when you transition from the skateboarding situation, and then you're like, okay, this is where I am now. Where'd you land?
I kind of actually landed in the Jordans.
See, yeah.
But I feel like that's a natural progression, right? Like you were skateboarding one day, and then like
I just kept seeing all these shoes, and then I found myself enviously eyeing my brother's Jordans that he got, and I was like,
so there we go.
it's the older brother. I mean, the brother action. Man.
Yeah.
Is he older or younger?
he was actually younger.
Okay.
So, but my younger brother was actually more in the sports. So he was playing basketball, football, baseball, everything. And he rolled up in one day with a pair of Jordans. I'm like, what are those? Like,
Do you remember which Jordans they were?
I don't remember. They
Okay.
were
All right.
red and black, but I don't remember the style.
There's
You
that.
broke that one.
I don't
You
know.
broke that one right down.
Oh my god.
So, all
He
right, so
actually
we
might still have them. I'll like dig.
that's dope.
out.
That's dope.
That'd
If
be
he
good.
does, that's dope. I've never been good at keeping joints. Like they'll go, and then you regret it later on. Like, dang, I should.
Cause it's like when you're that age, you don't really you see the shoe and you like the shoe, but you don't like. It's not coherent.
Yeah, the value in
The
it,
value
or like,
and like
what
the
it's gonna
style,
mean later.
like it's not coherent with you at that age.
Right. So we gotta dig a little bit there. So your brother though, so was he like a sneakerhead, or he just so happened to have a pair of Jordans that you liked?
He just happened to have a pair of
Okay. All right.
because he used them to play basketball.
So the pair that he had. Okay, let me ask you this. If you don't remember the pair. So your Jordan journey. Do you remember the first number of Jordans that you know, like the 13s or 11s? Did you start higher, or did you start with like the ones?
I did not start with the ones. I don't remember what number I started with though. Oh man.
It's all right. It's all right. We're gonna get there. It'll come out to the surface eventually. You guys on Joe?
So Jordans was your entry into the more lifestyle sneaker. Like I said earlier, you know, the ones you had that crushed my soul were some Air Force Ones. So at some point, you started to transition from just the label to whatever you just thought was like cool or dope.
Yes.
When was that? When was it like, all right, everybody's wearing Jordans and I know I'm gonna get them because everybody's getting Jordans. But when was there a point to be like, you know, these Jordan whatevers are coming out, but I want this color or that color?
It actually kind of depended on my style at the time.
Okay.
So like, obviously back in my skater phase, like I wanted something that fit more of my personality at the time.
Yeah.
And so as the years went by, like, you know, I started picking colors and styles that fit more me.
Now let me ask you this: what was access to sneakers like for you? Right, because we
great
talk
question.
a lot about when we were younger, our parents would or would not buy us certain types of sneakers, or one thing we very rarely talk about is the amount of sneakers that our parents would buy. Right, like you got one pair for the first day of school, you got another pair. Me, I was always limited based on my report card. My sister had unlimited access to sneakers based on her report card. What was sneaker access like for you?
Actually, it was kind of similar. My parents didn't really like buying us a lot of like clothes and shoes because I was an outdoor kid. I climbed up trees, like crawled on the ground, like ripped up my jeans, destroyed my shoes. So my parents were like, "You get one pair of shoes, and then we'll reevaluate later on."
Okay.
And,
Right.
But sometimes, like for birthdays or like Christmas or like major holidays, like they would think about it. Like it was a higher chance that I would get.
One of the other things we've talked about in the past was what it was like to go sneaker shopping with your parents. Did you have that? I mean, because you're a child. With all due respect, you were a child of the internet, right? So you could order sneakers, or if you found them, your parents would just order them and send it home. You know, did you ever have these sneakers and your parents were like, "No, that's just too much, Kat"? Or did they say, "No, you like them since you're only getting one? Have at it"?
I don't think I went crazy back then. So like I had like one pair like to start out the year, and then maybe like another pair or two, like throughout the school year, or actually the whole year. And so shopping with my parents, like we would always go back to school shopping. So we would go to the store, and they would be like, "All right, let me know what you like." And so I would go up to my mom and be like, "I want this one," and she'd be like, "No." And I'm like,
Just no.
and
Just
so she would
no.
just crush my whole hopes and
Right.
dreams.
Right.
So it was really hard for me to actually get into the shoe game because.
Isn't it a blessing for your parents? Because what I'm hearing is that you really became a major fanatic on your own dollar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I was.
How much of a blessing for your parents is that? You know what I'm saying? That they
Yeah.
didn't have to worry about these ridiculous prices for all these sneakers. You had your own money by then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think we should transition and continue this conversation while we talk about the joints that you brought.
Okay.
Well, let me ask one question before as we transition. And that's a great point that you transitioned into sneakerhead on your own dollar. Do you remember, if not the very first pair of sneakers you bought yourself for yourself?
Great question.
They were probably like a pair of the OG like Air Force Ones, and I can't remember when that was, but it was just like I have these now.
Yeah. Like I did.
can be cool.
And you bought them.
Yes.
Were you working? Did you save your money? How did you
Yeah,
afford your first pair of sneakers?
Okay, so so my very first job was a tutoring job, and that didn't pull in much. So I actually had to save and budget, and so when I actually got a pair, I was like, it was just so fulfilling. I was like, it's like.
Did you set out for that? Did you set out and say, I'm saving my money because I want to get these Air Force Ones? Oh, that was the purpose of it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I ain't mad at that.
Nice.
I did the same thing when I first got a job. It's like my little check. I'm saving up some of that to get these sneakers. All I wanted was music and sneakers constantly. So I get that. You know, I might not have been as good at saving as you might have been, but you know what I'm saying. But I found a way to get them joints for sure.
Yeah.
Dang. So I had a question. It just escaped me. But let's go ahead and transition.
let's see what you got.
Let's pull some joints
Alright,
out
before-
and get started on these first ones, and then we'll rock out from there.
Before I pull out the joints, I need you to close your eyes. both of
Uh-oh,
you.
we closing the eyes on the show?
All right, here
Yes,
we go.
'cause
This
I
is what
have-
happens.
Okay, I brought gifts for the both of you.
Okay.
All right, you can open them now.
Oh, shoot. We got bags and everything.
So
right.
I actually made these for you guys.
Word.
Word.
So
I'm excited. Ah, look at
that's-
that.
look
Look
at
at there.
Come on.
Come on, man.
The bar has been set.
Come on, people.
Future
Come on this
guests.
show, man. Look at that.
Look at that.
Hello, I'm a sneakerhead. I'm wearing this on the show. That's a go.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
we'll
it, Kat.
coordinate
That's
to
dope.
make sure that we don't wear it at the same time. But just know and understand, gentlemen. We are, ladies
That's
and
clean.
gentlemen.
That's clean, y'all.
This is
Appreciate
what's
that.
up. We appreciate it.
You know,
man.
you are a creative person.
yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you've made bottles for me, like you've made candles for me. You've made soap dispensers out of whiskey bottles.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So you've always been a creative person. So this is not
This is
surprising,
really dope,
but
man.
it is surprising at the same time. And it's a very nice quality T-shirt
We're
too.
gonna have to talk. We're gonna have to talk your t-shirt quality action
Okay.
after.
Okay.
I see what you're doing right there. Yes, indeed. Appreciate you,
Appreciate
Kat.
it. That's a good
All right,
looking
let
out, Kat.
me go ahead and reset the cameras and stuff real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about your sneakers. Cool.
Yep.